for tuning in and watching the video. If you just watched the inauguration, it just ended. Actually, it was probably about an hour ago when President Trump went off the stage and everything started moving forward. But I'm sure it is an emotional day for you, whether you love, like, or hate Donald John Trump. I'd always wondered what the J stood for, but it's John. Anyway, regardless of your feelings of how the inauguration turned out, I hope you will join me at looking at 2017, 2018, 19, in an as optimistic way as possible. I actually see the count this time. I didn't see that yesterday. Anyway, honestly, I think if you care more about the White House than your own house, then there's probably a problem. And regardless of who is or is not in office, we have a fantastic amount of control over what we do each and every day, whether we go to an office, whether we work from home, whether we are stay-at-home parents, whatever. We have a fantastic and tremendous amount of control over what does and does not happen, who we let into our lives, and who we get out of our life. So those are just some brief post-inauguration thoughts. I've just seen so much crap being thrown around over the last few months. Just really a lot of hate that I don't think they will, but I really hope people are embarrassed about. We take what the media says at face value, and we don't do any sort of investigation. And I'm spending way more time talking about this than I initially planned, but fact check yourself and go with your gut and what you know to be true. Because I did a live video yesterday about how being an entrepreneur and starting a business would make you a better human being. I hope you will go and watch that, because I 1000% believe that to be true, that we have so much control over what we do and almost no control over what other people do. So I think let me pull up this quote. Something I came up with today. This is an Elloryism, so I hope you don't mind me sharing something that I said and not something that that a famous person said, but I want to make sure you hear it. If we keep blaming other people's success on talent instead of hard work, then we can have an excuse for not being successful ourselves, because we can place their success on this mythical talent. Because if we attribute their success to hard work and discipline and persistent, all the things that we could develop on our own, then we have no one to blame but ourselves for not achieving our goals. I integrate a little bit of coaching into almost everything that I do. And one thing that defines, or one thing that really makes coaching stand out from other things, is the tough love. Someone at a conference said you get the whisper, the tap, and then the 2x4 when it comes to coaching. And sometimes you got to smack people upside the head and get them to change the way that they're thinking. And part of the change of the way that you're thinking, let's get back to the topic of hand, is habits, setting goals, and moving forward. So I want to take you back, something I emailed my subscribers let's see, yeah, this one was a couple of days ago, but it's about being the lone wolf. And if you've ever been called an overnight success, or if you've ever called someone an overnight success, you might have also thought that they were a lone wolf, that they were self-made, that they did what they have done on their own. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I've got my big Keurig thing of coffee here. See if I can fill it up here. I've already had a few cups, but I drink a lot of coffee every day. No calories and no cream or sugar or anything. So just black, delicious coffee. So I'm set to go. But let me go right into this idea of being the lone wolf, because when we talk about habits and setting goals, the lone wolf will come up. And I did a Google search for lone wolf, and I couldn't find like a picture or something. I wanted to visualize what that might be, but I have a couple examples coming up here. But I can remember when I first got the idea to start blogging, and you may have heard this before. Of course, I say I'm about to do a video, and then I start getting some text messages. Let me close that. But in 2012, I had never heard of WordPress. I had never bought a domain before, and I honestly thought that blogging was something that teenage girls did to talk about boys and breakups and music and all of those kinds of things. I did not really want to start a blog. And again, I'm taking you back to some things that have really helped me be successful, and hopefully will help you be successful in 2017 as well. But anyway, one of my friends, Jason, who you might have heard me call Beaton, he goes, every dude in his family goes by their last name. But he took one look at the crappy site that I had built. And again, this is the site that is now turned into ElloryWells.com. And before I go any further, I want to make it clear that anything that I have done, anything that I've accomplished, you can do too. I didn't have an Ivy League education. I wasn't born to a famous person. I was an average dude from a town less than 3,000 people, like an hour north of anywhere. So you can do this too. So Beaton took one look at the site and said, hey, you should look at building your site, your blog, and what would become my business on WordPress. So that was really the first piece of valuable advice that I got about building an online business. And it was almost the last piece of advice that I was able to get, because in the beginning, I thought asking for help was a sign of weakness. I thought, like, to use a literal example, if I was going to go and move a heavy piece of furniture, asking for help, hey, can you help me move this big piece of furniture? That means I can't do it on my own. I'm not strong enough to lift this couch or this bookshelf on my own. And I applied that philosophy to my business. So I didn't ask a whole lot for help. So, and maybe you have faced that too. You feel like society and the pressures told you that if you can't do it on your own, you shouldn't or couldn't do it at all. And that's not necessarily the case, and I'll get into that here in just a second too. The American culture idolizes the lone wolf. We put people like John Wayne, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, and these other pioneers on this pedestal, and we praise the pioneers who charge forward unflinching into the unknown and who make their own way, oftentimes in spite of or because of their overwhelming challenges, like moving a couch on your own. People who can figure out a way to do things are the ones that change the world. And that's what I talked about yesterday. If you want to change the world, Gandhi, I think, would say change yourself. But if you want to change the world, start a business. And that was the premise of my video yesterday. But I thought I had to do the same. I thought I had to be the self-made or the lone wolf. And I sent this email to hundreds of people Wednesday, and I'm doing this video. Hopefully hundreds more will, or thousands, that'd be cool too. Hundreds more people will also see this, because there is no such thing as a lone wolf, and there is no such thing as self-made. I got called a self-made entrepreneur when I was playing golf one day. It's kind of odd. But there is no such thing as a lone wolf. It's a myth, and there is no such thing as self-made. And because I didn't know, because I know what it's like to try and do things on my own without anybody's help, I know that is a path to failure. And that's why I said I almost got my last piece of advice when my friend Beaton told me to check out WordPress, because I thought any time I asked for help, sought assistance or advice or something like that, it meant I could not do it on my own or figure it out on my own. And for almost 2 years, I tried things my way. I really limped along, and I didn't want to seem weak, so I didn't ask for help. And I didn't seek out the advice of experts or people who were doing what I was wanting to do. And I for sure didn't talk to anyone about the things that I was struggling with. So I want to encourage you to not make the same mistake that I did and make some of the habits we'll get to here in just a second. But I didn't talk about the things that weren't going wrong. I wanted the world to think I was successful at everything that I did, which is not the case. More and more these days, there's more and more successes and fewer failures, because I focus on what I'm really good at. I leave everything else up to people who are really good at the areas that I am weak. Marketing, doing cool designs, some of those other things. I still do a lot of stuff myself because I enjoy it, but I fail less now because I focus on what I do best. And maybe even as I say that, I should get even further outside of my comfort zone and do things that might not work. But my goal is to help you avoid those mistakes, some of the ones that I've made and which have kept me from really growing my business rapidly. So let's talk about a few habits. These aren't going to be necessarily specific. I had most of what I just talked about kind of prepared, canned, if you will. And that message came across hopefully fairly clear. But let's talk a little bit about habits. Number one is betting on yourself, focusing on personal development, doing things that will make you better. And an investment in yourself is better than any other investment that you could possibly make, unless it was like $100,000 when you were little. It might turn into $200,000 by the time you're dead, because interest rates suck right now. But an investment in yourself is something that's going to take you from any level to that next level. When I first got started, I was getting up like 3 hours before I had to be at work, and I was reading, blogging, studying books like Exit Strategy. I was reading those and taking notes and figuring out how to implement all of the things that these authors had written and apply them to my life. One I'm reading right now is .com Secrets. I shared this yesterday, and all of a sudden I started seeing Facebook ads with Russell Brunson's face on them. So that is the power of retargeting. But I want to tell you a few statistics real quick. Let me pull up. Well, that's not the URL that I wanted. Most people don't set goals, and I'm going to have a percentage for you here in just a second, but 80% of Americans say they don't have goals. 16% of people say they do have goals, but they don't write them down. And then fewer than 4% of these people, or fewer than 4% do write their goals, but only 1% of people review their goals regularly. Which percentage do you fall into? Statistically, you don't have goals, but more than likely, if you are friends with me or following me on Facebook and watching this video, you have goals. So you're in the 20% who does. So you say you have goals, but have you written them down? A habit that you should have is writing down your goals. And you should not only have the habit of writing them down, if you don't look at them the rest of the year, that's like a New Year's resolution, or it's like a dream instead of some sort of plan of action. But do you review those goals regularly? Are you meeting with a group of people who can keep you accountable to the goals that you have set for yourself? 43% of people, let's see, if you don't write down your goals, studies show that you have a 43% chance to complete or accomplish those goals. So we've got 80% of people who don't have goals. 16% of people say they have goals, but they don't write them down. Which means 4%. Well, let's lump the last one in there. 5% of people write down their goals. So if you don't write them down, you have a 57% chance of failure. How does that How does that make you feel? A 57% chance of failure if you don't write down your goals. However, if you write down your goals and you share them with a friend or a coach and have regular accountability, you have a 76% chance to achieve your goals. So 43 times 2 is 86. So you almost double your chances to achieve your goals if you write them down. So if you're looking at habits, what you can do, you take a goal. What do you want to achieve by the end of 2017? Begin with the end in mind, work backwards, and then set a goal for each milestone that you want to achieve. People who work with coaches and mastermind groups see an almost 2x increase in their chances to achieve their goals. So when you're talking about setting goals, sorry, I feel itchy all of a sudden. When you're talking about achieving your goals, write them down and then meet with somebody who can keep them accountable. And that was always kind of a struggle that I think a lot of people see. I when I work with clients, accountability is one of the things that they really enjoy or really get value out of in working with me in a coaching or mastermind capacity. But accountability can be a kind of sensitive topic but here, let me rephrase. Here's why it shouldn't be. When we set a goal and we tell the world what we want to accomplish, why is it a problem for people to tell us, hey, you should get back on track? You should keep the commitment that you made to yourself. Because when you start falling short on the commitments that you have spent for yourself or that you've made to yourself, other things will start falling through the cracks, and you'll probably see less and less success if you can't keep the commitments, that you made to yourself. So moving forward, I want to share something with you that I've got going until Sunday at 4:00. Oh, let me back up one second, because a lot of you might not see this story, and I'll try to condense it for you. Let me see if I can make this window a little bit smaller. So in 2012. If you didn't know, I had almost everything in life that I was told that I needed, and I had a lot of cool stuff. I was making a bunch of money. Ashley and I had been married a couple of years, and we'd bought a great house on the golf course. I can see I won't tell you which hole, but I can see the pin here, and there's some people playing right over there. House is on the golf course. I'd just been awarded the sales rep of the year at Dell, and I was kind of on top of the world. Again, career success, those kinds of things. Those are all things that the world tells us that we should have and that we should need. My trophies are over there. There's a picture of there. I keep them in their box because I don't give a shit anymore. But life was pretty good in 2012. But in 2014, just 3 weeks after I earned, I guess I should say, a $20,000 commission check. It was actually like $20,102 or something. And I got the manager's rockstar trophy from the guy who would later fire me. I did get fired just 3 weeks after I got all of those things. So in January 17th, just 3 years and 3 years and 3 days ago. And I had to figure out what I was going to do next. I had to figure a way out of my anger, frustration, confusion, and some depression about not knowing what I needed to do next. I didn't have a plan for my business. I had spent 2 years kind of fumbling and not really having much of a direction or accountability or someone pushing me in the right direction. And honestly, the status of losing a job that way kind of impacted me, and I had to decide. I was actually sitting right here in this chair. Do I dust off the resume, or do I go all in and try to make a business work, applying what I had learned by being very successful at Dell and IBM and many of the other jobs, not all of them, many of the other jobs, to helping other people get started, because I got this very expensive corporate education that Dell and IBM paid to send me through. So I know most people don't have those. And I wanted to know if I could make my business work, but that getting fired turned into a blessing in disguise, and we're coming around to 2015, where my business saw a 404% growth, and now I get to train and mentor and everyone. And I've been featured on Huffington Post, Goodman Project, Lifehack, most recently a major one, Smart Passive Income with Pat Flynn. But my goal, as we're talking about moving forward and making 2017 a success, my goal is to help you grow your business and guide you further than you could have gotten on your own, and faster, and surround you with great people that I have around me, and who are people like you, and help you be encouraged, and be encouraging to other people, and help you be accountable, again, to the goals that you have set for yourself. And I would love to do some really amazing things with you this year. But the promotion that I've got going from now until Sunday at 4 Central, that's 5 Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, is I have a 15% off my coaching packages. I want to help more people. Part of my goals for 2017 is to, in revenue, make over $250,000 from my writing, speaking, and coaching. Coaching is definitely going to be a big part of that. But part of that, besides the dollar number, is that means I get to help a lot more people not have to go to a job that they hate. Work can suck. Bosses can suck. And if you're going to a place that makes you miserable every day, 5 days out of the week, so that you can have freedom for 2 days. Actually, it's not even 2 days. It's less, because about 2 o'clock on Sunday, you start feeling like work is encroaching on your weekend, and it sucks. So I know it's not even a full 2 days, but I know you can turn your idea into something that you can make money with. I know, because I've seen and helped people do that for the last 5 years and the last 3 years as a full-time coach. I've seen people take their ideas with not a whole lot of belief in themselves and their abilities, to turning them into products and making money. I was talking to one of my coaching clients earlier today, and she said that she already had a handful of people paying her a little bit of money every month, and more money in this revenue stream will really just change the life of her family. And one of my mastermind groups was talking last night how the guy just finished the first email to re-engaging his audience. Another guy just signed a new client, all this last night. Another guy's product released and his ads were approved on Facebook, and he had just launched his site. All of this yesterday from one of my masterminds. But here's the deal. Between now and Sunday at 4, you can get 15% off of any of my coaching packages. If you go to ElloryWells.com/coach, Ellory, ELLORYWELLS.com/coach, you can see all of the testimonials, all of the results that people have gotten by working with me, who those people are, that they're not, they're very special to me, but they're not super, that sounds really bad. They are talented people, but they have also had the wisdom to get help at various phases of the startup and growth of their business. But I'm running a 15% off if you go to ElloryWells.com/coach. You can scroll down and see 6, 13, or 26 coaching sessions. Click the button, fill out the application, and I will send you a link to use Coach15, COACH15. Coach15 is a coupon code, and it'll save you 15%. If this is something that you've been thinking about doing, I don't know why you would want to wait any longer. I mean, just ask yourself this question. January, we're not done. We got a week left in January. You've had 3 weeks on your own to go after your goals. How far have you gotten? There's no judgment there because I don't know you or what your goals were or how far you've gone. But if you feel like you haven't gotten far enough in 3 weeks, how will you progress in another 49? Just wondering. Anyway, ElloryWells.com/coach, and then use coach 15 to get 15%. I'm going on a 7-day cruise starting tomorrow or Sunday at 4. That's why the coupon code expires. And that's why we're doing this deadline. I do wish you all of the best in 2017 as we wrap up. I'm sure there's going to be news coverage of the inauguration all day today. But if you care more about what's going on over there in Washington than what's going on in here and here where you are and where you work, that's a problem. Spread peace and happiness and encouragement. I swear, if you start sharing crap, it's very annoying. It is very annoying, and we attract what we are, and we become what we attract. I gotta mute this thing. One of my groups is going nuts. Develop good habits, set your goals, write them down, and review them every day. Share them, and then have someone keep you accountable to achieve them, and move forward into the rest of 2017 with grace and power and empowerment. And I hope you will let me go on that journey with you. Have an awesome day.